Hey everyone, and welcome to Method's Tariq Guide for Fellowship. I'm here to teach you everything you need to know to succeed without stress or frustration. So let's dive right in. On screen right now you'll see a quick cheat sheet. I'll be going through everything more in depth throughout the rest of the video, but here's your no fluff guide. Everything is subject to change, however, if you want a quick pick up and play without thinking, well, here it is. Tariq is a melee DPS who utilizes his fury and revolves around swing timers to deal damage and empower his attacks. His unique mechanic involves using a swing timer, which is represented as a bar to the side of your character. This bar has a constantly moving line on it representing when you'll auto attack. An auto attack occurs when this line reaches the end of the bar, and you can empower his attacks using heavy strike towards the end of it. Using any other ability at this point cancels it, so just pay attention to this, it's key. Fury on the other hand is a generic resource bar that is built and spent with your rotational abilities. Nice and simple. Tariq's entire gameplay loop revolves around maximizing fury generation and empowering his key abilities to deal much more damage. As you unlock talent points throughout your journey, different nodes require different investment, which means our options can be quite free-flowing. With that in mind, I've gone ahead and made it as simple as possible for you all, outlining what I believe to be the best general setup you can have at every stage. So your talent timeline will look like this. Your first 2 points will go into Blood and Thunder, third goes into Ride the Lightning, and so on. On screen you'll have a stage by stage breakdown highlighting all of the talents chosen, so just follow along and you'll be grand. The build does shift around, so keep an eye on where points are being allocated and feel free to pause the video at any moment to double check things. There is also a talent point counter at the top to help identify how many points are being used at each stage. Feel free to try things out, mix and match, and just have fun with it. Due to the inconsistent nature of our fury generation, we have less of a strict rotation and more of a priority system. You'll have a priority system for building your fury, and then you can choose how to spend it depending on the target count. I'll quickly reiterate the basics in case you skipped ahead. Tariq utilizes fury as well as his unique mechanic of a swing timer to deal damage. Your fury is your typical generic resource bar that you build and spend, whereas the swing timer is a bar to the side of your character that has a constantly moving line. When this line reaches the end of the bar, you auto attack. You can then empower this auto attack with heavy strike near the end of the bar. Using any other ability at this point will just cancel the attack. Pay big attention to this. Your priority for building fury looks like this. Firstly, we have Thundercall. This is one of your important cooldowns, and you use it to empower your attacks and give you access to our next button that we want to prio, which is Chain Lightning. After Chain Lightning, it's Leap Smash, then Wild Swing, Base Breaker, and at the bottom of our priority list, it's a simple Heavy Strike. With all that said, it's clear we have a handful of ways to generate fury, but only a few finishers to actually spend it. These finishers come in the form of a big single target hit called Skull Crusher, a big AoE hit being Hammer Storm, and uniquely a single target execute being Culling Strike. You'll use Skull Crusher on one target and you'll use Hammer Storm on anything more than that. I also don't recommend using Culling Strike with more than one target present unless you desperately need to deal priority damage. One thing to be aware of is a handful of your abilities are also off the global cooldown. Understanding what's on the GCD and what's not is actually really important because of our swing timer. The last thing I want to touch on is Tariq's ultimate, Raging Tempest. It doesn't change the way we play, but it does further empower Thundercall for its duration, meaning that you'll want to pair these two cooldowns to deal far more damage. Outside of your damaging abilities, you have a few extra buttons. We've already touched on Thundercall, but Focused Wrath is another cooldown we have that buffs our damage. It's a simple buff to two of our spenders, making them do more damage. You'll want to use this on cooldown. You also have Unbreakable Will, your personal defensive, and Intimidating Roar, which is an AoE fear for 10 seconds. It's really useful for stopping mobcasts. Your stat priority for Tariq is this. Eye level is king, followed by crit, then haste, then expertise, and lastly spirit. For gems, Amethyst is pretty strong. Initially you can use any tier 1 gems you have, but with how gem power actually works, I typically recommend putting most of your eggs into one basket later on. When it comes to legendaries, I typically recommend the Cloak because it empowers your Leap Smash significantly. It makes enemies you leap on take 20% more damage from you for 5 seconds, and with how low of a cooldown Leap can be, this is easily your best legendary. For weapons, there's one that stands out above the rest as well, being Fateful Basher. This gives us a massive amount of CDR, allowing you to be inside your cooldowns far more often, and only gets better once you acquire your legendary too. Relics are mostly just personal preference or group dependent since they are entirely utility focused. The only lock-in I'd say is Sin Binding Stone. It provides 15% damage reduction to yourself and allies for 15 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown. It's insane value, particularly on some of the harder bosses in the game. Your second relic option mostly comes down to what you value, have available, or simply prefer. Feel free to test things out and just see what you like. And there we have it. This was Method's Tariq guide. Thank you all for watching. If you found this useful, be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to let us know your thoughts on Fellowship in the comments below. Much love friends, see you around.